Get in, nerds. We're playing Victoria 3. We are still going slow because I don't want to miss anything that's going on in the world. I've lost my chance to participate in this, but I wasn't really going to anyway. There is this war happening between Egypt and Great Britain that I'm not going to participate in, but it might be a good time to take advantage of Great Britain's relative lack of capacity to get scrappy with me to grab a few more chunks of Ireland. Gonna wait on that. By the way, we can get 10 prestige by putting an airship mooring post at the top of this skyscraper. I might take a look at what that takes. Airship technology is around here somewhere, isn't it? No. It's in society, perhaps? Yeah, it's here. Interesting. Weird that we don't have Zeppelins. That we don't have... The Zeppelins technology is here. Weird that we don't have elevators completed. We're going to build a skyscraper, and it's going to be completely built around stairs. That's wild. So we should have... fine art become very expensive. Yep, and this is just something that happens as a result of the French culture becoming obsessed with art. Electricity is still quite expensive. We are continuing to build up these plants in Constantine. What turmoil here? That's sad. Iron mines throughput. This is a good place for iron mines. Do we have iron mines here? We don't. How interesting. Wow, my customs union uses a lot of iron. That's wild. That's wild, friends. I'm gonna go back up to speed 3 here. Overly enthusiastic partisans. Supporters of the Democratic Alliance have gone beyond simply campaigning for their own party, harassing and sometimes physically attacking opposition partisans. I'm a simple man, that's all. I know who I like, I know who I don't like. And I know I want my people to win and their people to lose. Crack down on Democratic Alliance activities, or let the Democratic Alliance partisans continue unmolested. This will weaken the armed forces, but this will reduce the momentum of the Democratic Alliance. I'm going to have to go with the second one. We'll see how that plays out. Because, again, the Democratic Alliance is the party that aligns with my my boss here. I might put Wivecon in control once I pull them into the government and see how that helps me. He is a pacifist. That would mean that I would be better off aligning with probably the Party of Order than the, at least certainly than the armed forces. This guy is a Republican. We'll see kind of how that goes. We'll see how it goes. Ooh, airborne. Antoine Bonaparte. Wonderful. Little Antoine. He is a child. This is not shocking. Oil has been discovered in Congo. I don't know why this is triggering the Rubber Rush event, but it is. Or maybe it just triggered the notification. Am I looking in the wrong place? No, Congo is down here. Here we go. Congo. Yeah, that's oil. Wild. Alright. So. We removed, we added migration controls. That's helped radicalization a bit. Let's, so this will irritate the intelligentsia and the trade unions, but it will make the armed forces, petite bourgeoisie, and Catholic Church happy. The industrialists will not be affected. I say we do it. And this will give us more control over our internal politics. Socialist internationalism. The Communist Party is receiving election campaign support from the Communist Party, from the Communist Armed Forces in Prussia. So comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. Prussian socialists are welcome here. This gives the communists 30% momentum. Or try to limit foreign influence. This gives them 10% momentum. This one also says the communist ideology would be more likely to appear in the country. Again, I'm going to limit it with this. Is Prussia communist? No. You're a parliamentary republic. The new menagerie. The Menagerie du Jardin des Plantes in Ile-de-France has begun to expand its exhibits with a surge in French prosperity and leisure time. From my private collection, I am capable of lending to you a most excellent specimen of a lion, captured as a cub from a hunt in Africa. I happen to know for quite some time a collector and breeder of exotic birds, which possesses in his private menagerie a magnificent parakeet. The curator sat back and regarded the sponsors before him. Sirs, all I require from you is the bold rooster, the enduring symbol of the French Empire. This gets us 25 prestige and 2% of the petite bourgeoisie in Ile-de-France become more loyalists. That doesn't seem great. Or the soaring eagle from the heights of Spain, of the Spanish Pyrenees. That improves relations with Spain. Well, I do like prestige. And I do like loyalists, so we'll do this one. That should help things out. Has my... Did I build my... Yeah, okay. These are about to come online now. I say as though they're computers. Alright, and that's helping out with the bureaucracy by quite a bit. How much are we actually increasing the armed forces? 100. Alright, that's pretty affordable. Alright, and that is closing the gap with bureaucracy, which should be just fine. That should help us deal with our financial issues quite a bit. Because right now we're getting 70k in unrealized taxes. The extra construction sectors that we built really, oh, interesting. It didn't hardly, cover nearly as much as I thought it was going to. Well, that's okay. There's the elevators tech. Gets access to arcades. These will cost more glass and more steel, but they will produce way more services. Glass and steel, 2.5k more each. Can my market tolerate that? Glass, it won't actually affect the price of glass that much. Steel, even less. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. We'll have services for days. Blam. Now they're completely unprofitable. Hurrah. That's okay. These things happen. Let's go ahead and get another one of these urban centers on electric lights. The Symbolist Manifesto. Following in the footsteps of the decadent movement, the poet Jean Moréa... Before we do this, here's our election. So the Communist Party got 40% of the votes. Interesting. So, how do we... Wow. Okay. Well, it looks like we may have to put the communists into government after all. Let's stop suppressing the intelligentsia and the trade unions for the moment and see what our options are. Yeah, it's really... Yeah, we're going to have to go with the Democratic Alliance and the Republican Party. Happily, though, the Republican Party will get stronger over time. For the moment, we'll just drop... It's going to be rough. We'll drop taxes. That'll get us up to 51%. And that'll be okay. Let's go ahead and continue to suppress the trade unions. And we'll go ahead and bolster the industrialists. But unfortunately, that means this no longer has any... the Outlaw Dissent no longer has any support in government. So we'll go ahead and cancel that. It's better to be going forward with a more legitimate government. So, anyway, the Symbolist Manifesto. Following the footsteps of the decadent movement, the poet Jean Moréa has published an artistic manifesto detailing an artistic tendency which focuses on attempting to express exotic ideals through extravagant analogy and oblique references. Rhythm, the ancient metric enlivened, a chaos learnedly ordered, the rhyme illuminescent and beaten as a buckler of gold and bronze. To rhymes of unintelligible fluidity, the Alexandrine with numerous and mobile stopping, the job of first certain numbers, 7, 9, 11, 13, bold in the various rhythmic combinations, of which they are the price. Let us dare to live. This gets us triumph of the symbolist movement, 50 prestige, 10% more political strength for academics. That's good for us for now. Or any renovation is madness. Marginal symbolist movement, 5% influence, reduced political strength of academics, 10% tech spread for society. I'm going to go with... This is interesting. I'm going to go with Let Us Dare to Live. It's only 2 years, though. 50 prestige for 2 years isn't that big of a deal. Then, whereas 10% increased tech spread for society over 2 years is a very big deal. Because that will live forever. On the other hand, a weaken academics, this will strengthen academics. And academics are the basis of the intelligentsia's power, which we currently have in power. So I'm actually going to go with the first one. Let us dare to live. Alright. Great Britain is continuing to carry out adventures all over the world. So, how are our political parties? Doing okay. Doing okay. Could separate church and state. Necessarily want to do that. Gosh, I really am tempted to go to presidential republic. But I'm trying to keep to monarchy. We're trying to do this monarchy thing. If we went from National Guard to guaranteed liberties, what would that change? National Guard is currently giving us minus 5% political movement 15% political movement radicalism. Guaranteed liberties would not give us that. But it would give us increased radicalists, reduced radicals and increased loyalists. And that would be really nice. On the other hand, National Guard is kind of our thing. Guaranteed liberties also increase maximum institutional investment for home affairs, which is very tempting to me. Sadness. Sadness. How's that skyscraper done? Nearly done? Very good. How's the electricity market? Still pretty tough. But getting better. Wine market is absolutely wild. I know they're working on having wine be its own building in an upcoming patch. We'll see how things will go when we get this next round of power plants built. Precious sides with Oldenburg. Oh, look at this. A good vintage. The wine produced in Franche-Comté has been lauded by sommeliers as outstanding. When people say that something ages like wine, they don't always make the distinction between wine and wine. So let me make that distinction. If you can get your hands on a bottle from Franche-Comté, oh my god, I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time, Franche-Comté, that bottle will be more than just a good time. It can be an investment. Make it an exclusive product for export, increase production to meet the booming demand. I'm going to go with this one, the extra booming demand, because that's really going to increase wine output, and that's going to make my people happy. The nouveau riche. The prosperity of French society has given rise to a new generation of wealthy entrepreneurs. The most fashionable den of these nouveau riches is Maxime's, an exclusive restaurant decorated in Art Nouveau and catering to the most wealthy and fashionable citizens of Paris. It was an accumulation of velvet, lace, ribbons, diamonds, and what all else I couldn't describe. To undress one of these women is like an outing that calls for 3 weeks advance notice. It's like a moving house. A place to take ladies, but never one's wife. +2 standard of living for the upper stratum. +2 minimum expected standard of living for the upper stratum. Wild. It truly is the Belle Epoque. So, I'm thinking about making Jean-Jacques Vivequin the leader of the industrialists. So he's a pacifist. Pacifists support national militia and oppose colonization. He's currently working in a movement to enact no colonial affairs, which I wouldn't mind doing. This would probably put him much closer in line with where the Republicans are, because currently they're led by a Republican, which supports presidential republic and parliamentary republic, and elected bureaucrats. The intelligentsia have a different version of republicanism as part of their standard ideology, which doesn't care about the bureaucracy because they have that in anti-clerical. What are we getting for ideology penalty? We're getting minus 11 from ideology penalty. Ugh. On the other hand, so how much would that change? Let's take a look here. It's all about the distro power. So, okay, so the only place they're getting government ideology penalty is from the industrialists being plutocratic and liking oligarchy and wealth voting, and the intelligentsia being liberal and liking, being Republican and liking universal suffrage and census suffrage. Okay, so putting this guy in charge would not change that. So it would be at worst worse. It would be at best not any worse. So I'm going to not do that. All right. Very cool. I suppose if I really wanted to shift towards more conservative politics, I could change up the production methods of my government administration, my universities, and my urban centers. I think I'm going to do that. And that's going to make things... That's going to change my politics for the more conservative. So that'll weaken the intelligentsia right now, but it will potentially strengthen the Catholic Church to the point where I can put them into power alongside the industrialists and have a legitimate government. And there's the skyscraper. Touching the sky. The construction of the Paris skyscraper in Ile-de-France is complete, the first building of its type in the world. It dominates the skyline and inspires all who gaze upon it. My skyscraper would not have been possible without the hard work and grit of the thousands of people who dedicated themselves to its construction. Of course, as chief architect, I had perhaps more impact than most. One might even say the lion's share of the credit is mine. In fact, this pinnacle of human achievement, this new Babel, was born entirely from the machinations of my own mind. Look upon my works, all ye mighty, and despair. French architecture is second to none. This gives us 75 prestige for 5 years. It's split up into two different... Oh, because we got the first one. We get 25 prestige for building the skyscraper and 50 prestige for being the first people to build the skyscraper. Radical. I thought this was Bremen versus IT. What is IT doing? We're still an autocratic monarchy. This appears to not have increased my capacity as much as I was hoping it would. So, that's unfortunate. Oh, no, it's still getting employed, right? Yeah, here we go. So we'll see how this increases, because right now it's only providing a fraction of what it's supposed to. If it does, that should help our finances a lot. Yeah, because it should be reducing our tax situation. But yeah, I don't think it's going to cover the difference that we need it to cover. Hey, there's sea lane strategies. So let's go ahead. That's a naval doctrine, so we'll go ahead and get our naval bases working on that. Colonial exhibition in Paris. An exhibition displaying the wealth of our colonies across the world has been held in Ile-de-France, drawing in visitors with displays of exotic animals, natural resources, and ethological expositions of the Ibibio peoples in a simulated native village. The poster for the exhibition was a lurid red, entitled L'Exposition Orientale, and decorated with caricatures of the peoples of the empire. Bare-breasted women from West Africa carrying shields and clubs with snarls on their faces, flanked robed Algerians bearing pineapples, and delicate, lipsticked Vietnamese girls balancing pots on their heads. A child attached to the arm of his silk-clad mother looked from the poster to her, with hope in his eyes. It's only half a franc. Whew, that's a lot. Astounding and educational. 2% of middle stratum pops in the Ile-de-France become more loyalist, or perhaps these human displays are excessive. Condemned human zoos, petite bourgeoisie unhappy, Catholic Church unhappy, intelligentsia unhappy. I can live with the petite bourgeoisie and the intelligentsia being mad, but the Catholic Church are already at -3, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with the loyalists, gross and weird though this is. I've done a lot of gross and weird things in this playthrough. I'm not going to deny it, but wait a minute. The United States is getting fighty with Great Britain and India, and to be honest, if I were not myself planning on getting fighty with them, if only my infamy has actually gone way down. Well, but of course I am not going to. Perhaps this will be the moment I take advantage of British weakness to strike. Are they still in their fight with Egypt? They are. And it's going to be going on for a little while longer, at least. They are infamous as well. It's a good time to seize a bit of Ireland. This is an exciting situation. Look at this cool flag. The Maori Uprising. Presidential Republic Census Suffrage. Who are you fighting right now? You're fighting Australia. Well, if I weren't already getting involved in other politics, I would support them just because that's a really cool flag. And I love it. I'm still considering the possibility of involving myself with this situation here. We're still a little short on bureaucracy. So let's go ahead and queue up a couple more government administrations here in Ile-de-France. By a couple, I mean 10. We'll pull them up to the top. And then there'll be a time when we need to figure out what we want to do next, because we're building up these power plants, and the barracks are after that, and barracks build really, really fast. That said, we have a few more events. Oil in Timbuktu, encourage the strand oil is the future, always doing that. And Forest of Symbols. After the successful publications of the Symbolist movement, Charles de Macmahon has, I'm guessing on that one. I don't want to say Charles McMahon of the WWE, but I am tempted. Has decided to follow his path and embark upon a literary journey of his own, a source of concern for the armed forces. Are you one of my generals? You are. You're a commodore. And yet to wine, to opium even, I prefer the elixir of your lips, on which love flaunts itself. And in the wasteland of desire, your eyes afford the wells to slake my thirst. They deserve to have a private life. This makes him more popular, but makes the armed forces mad. Or this is unheard of. A poet politician. This makes him less popular and makes the armed forces happy. Is his ideology something I can live with? Bonapartist? I'm not too concerned about that. Unheard of. A poet politician. Make me happy, armed forces. Or rather, make my armed forces happy. That's what I'm shooting for here. These sentiments are confusing. It's the age of symbolism, okay? And there's the war between the United States and Great Britain popping off. Let me just make sure it happened. It sure is happening. The United States has become infamous. That's okay. We're still in a freaking contested government. I don't understand how this is occurring, but it is occurring. Still. It's been only a year, but we've had a lot of events pass by, and that's, I think, slowed us down a bit. So, with that having been said, I am going to put a pin in it here, because I need to do a lot. Well, actually, let's just figure out what we want to do with our construction capacity, because we're going to have construction capacity in a bit. We definitely need more engines, but I don't want to expand the motor industry too soon, and here's why. We're pretty close to having access to electric railways. And while we do have a bunch of stuff in the way of that, oh gosh. We'll actually have access to it pretty soon, once electrical capacitors finishes. Okay, I'm going to reorient here. I don't need conveyors that much, and I would really like to have electric railways because we're getting to the point where we need to have electric trains. And this will unlock electric engines for the motor industry. So I'm very tempted to do that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to skip off of Dreadnought for now. We're going to go to electrical capacitors, then electric railways, because we have steel railway cars already. Then we'll do telephone, radio, and NCO training. And after that, we'll finish out Dreadnought and be back on track. So, this first, then, this first, then this, then you, no, yes. Ooh. It would be nice to have Dreadnought done first, though. Let's see. Because this is a pretty high innovation cost if we don't have these two techs. Okay, so we'll do Dreadnoughts first. Then we'll do telephone and radio. And then hopefully by then we'll have some spread on war propaganda. We'll finish that out if it's not done already. Then we'll do NCO training. Alright. That's the tech side of it. Currently we're working on electrical capacitors. Does this do anything new and fun for us? It gives us brine electrolysis for chemical plants. We're still stuffed to the gills with fertilizer, right? We're actually, yeah, basically we are. Alright, and then how are we with explosives? We're short on explosives. So that's what's going to happen. Our chemical industry is not very efficient, but it's employing a ton of people. The game thinks that improved fertilizers will make it more profitable. I don't think that's going to happen. With that having been said, we are building up a bunch of power plants over here in... We just built a bunch of power plants over here in North Africa. They are continuing to output power. What does that do to our... We're still short on power. Gosh, see, here's the issue here, friends. Steam turbine is going to cost coal in addition to labor with these power plants. In fact, 2.49 thousand of it. And it's going to essentially double electricity output, basically. More than double it. And I just, well, it's not too much of an increase vis-a-vis our base coal amount, we could sneak it in there. But with that having been said, I want to build up more power capacity because I'm trying to continue to do all of the power-intensive things that I want to do. And there's going to be a lot of power-intensive things that I want to do going forward. So where have we got a lot of labor available? We've got plenty in Brittany. Plenty in Burgundy. Heck. That is wild. Burgundy. Where are you? Here. That is absolutely bananas. Let's go ahead and queue 20 levels. Maybe 30 in Burgundy. And then in Brittany, we'll do 30 as well. And both of these states will get 4 levels of railways, just to make sure that they are able to continue to function. We'll pull those up to the top. Again, sometimes this might feel silly, but it is what I want to do. And then next time, I think we'll go for another state in Ireland to grab from Britain to make ourselves even stronger. Got these government admins under construction already. I think I might fill them in. In fact, I think I'm going to build more of those. Another 10 here in Udifals. And queue them up in front of the next round of power plants. Because I'm going to need that bureaucratic capacity to integrate the next state in Ireland that I choose to bring in. So, I know we just went through a lot of stuff. That is, but we'll be good to hit the ground running next time. So, for now, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I'll see you all on the other side.